Hi, and welcome to today's session on well-being and happiness, quick exercises for your FYE classroom. Thank you very much for coming. And just as a heads up, today's webinar will be recorded and it will be sent out tomorrow by email. If you have questions, please enter them in the chat window and we'll address them during the session or at the end of the webinar. You can also feel free to use the little reaction buttons at the bottom of the screen or raise your hand if you have any feedback. I will be available to answer those questions. Today's webinar is brought to you by Human Resources. Human Resources is a worldwide leader in the development and provision of online personal assessments, student success, and education and career development programs. We also have a free resume service that you can learn more about at humanresources.com. And we're very fortunate to have Dr. Marsha Fralick with us today with exercises you can use in your FYE classroom to improve student well-being and happiness. A little bit about Dr. Fralick. Dr. Marsha Fralick taught college success courses for 45 years and is a frequent presenter at conferences related to student success. She's the author of the College and Career Success line of textbooks. Her college success program in the San Diego area received many awards from student and faculty and was designated an exemplary program by the California Community Colleges Board of Governors. Today's topic is based on content from the 2025 10th edition of College and Career Success. And I'd like to welcome Marsha to today's call.
Thanks everyone for attending our session today. I'd like to add also that I was a counselor at Cuyamaca Community College for 33 years. So I have had a front row seat to students and the stresses that they've had attending college. So I have been aware throughout my college career that students need help with mental and physical well-being. Every 3 or 4 years, I write new editions of my textbook, and my College and Career Success textbook is now in its 10th edition. And when I write new editions, I carefully look at the older edition and say, what has changed in the world? And as I was doing that, I identified a couple of important trends. One is artificial intelligence and how it's affecting study skills and writing and careers. I presented on that yesterday. And then the other trend that I noticed was the importance of well-being, both physical and mental well-being. And so I thought I could present to you today, even if you're not a mental health professional, some easy, quick exercises that you could include in your FYE course to help your students with mental and physical well-being. Any of the exercises or videos that I mentioned are listed at my website, and the last page will give you that URL, and so you can access the PowerPoint or any resources that I mentioned during this presentation. So here's a quick overview. Exercises to engage students in the area of happiness, gratitude, kindness, positive thinking, resilience, and relaxation. Some of the material is inspired by this book, one of my favorites, The How of Happiness. It's a scientific approach by Sonia, see if I can say her name, Lubomirsky, and every time I have difficulty with that name, but this is a really good book if you'd like to read up on the topic. So one of the things that she talks about is gratitude. If we can take some time each day to be grateful for what we have in life. So what is gratitude? A felt sense of wonder, thankfulness, and appreciation for life. And why is gratitude important? I think it's important because it helps with our well-being. It helps us to savor positive life experiences. It helps increase self-esteem, to cope with stress and trauma. It encourages moral behavior, helps us build social bonds, diminishes negative emotions, appreciating what you have. And it helps us to avoid hedonistic adaptation. And that simply means the more you have, the more you want. Sometimes college students think, if I just had more money or a certain car, I'd be happier. But really, the more we have, the more we want. So one of the quick exercises I would like to share with you today is a gratitude exercise. And as I do these exercises, it would be really great if I could get some participation from people attending the webinar. But as much as possible, I'll try to do these exercises as I would do them in my classroom. So one of the exercises are, what are 5 things in life for which you are grateful or thankful, and share your ideas. You could even keep a gratitude journal. Each week, list at least 5 things for which you're grateful, or simply take time to contemplate why you're grateful. You could do this every day, maybe before you went to bed. You can make it a Thanksgiving tradition also. So when I introduce this exercise in the classroom, I will give students some time to think about this, because if you put students on the spot, then you're not likely to get good participation. So I asked them, what are 5 things in life for which you are grateful? And I would either give them time to write them down. And while students are writing, I would share with them some of my personal ideas. When I share my personal ideas, I do that to show people that I'm willing to share, and also to give people time to think. So while I'm talking about a few things for which I am grateful, you could be thinking of some things for which you are grateful and write them in the chat window. So what am I grateful for? I'm grateful every day for my good health. I try to eat right and exercise, and so I'm very thankful that I'm in good health. I'm most thankful for my family. I have 2 children. I have 5 grandchildren, so I'm very thankful for the people in my life. I'm thankful that I live in San Diego. It's a beautiful place to live. So those are a few things that I am grateful for or thankful for. I wonder if we have any ideas in the chat room. Tamara, if we have some ideas, if you could read those out.
We do. They're making me smile. Things like blooming daffodils, family, dog, fiction, sleep, scallion pancakes. I'm not familiar with that one.
Oh, that sounds delicious.
Yeah. And my eyes. I'll do their little heart.
Yes,
And my family. So many reasons to be grateful, isn't there?
yes. Every day when I go to our local grocery store, I choose a particular cashier. He's an older man, and every time he checks out my groceries, he says, "Have a grateful day." And so I told him the other day, I said, that's really wonderful that you say that every day to all of your customers. And it's really based on science and psychology. So he was happy to know that. And so he smiles and says, "Have a grateful day," every day when people are checking out at the grocery store. A great habit to get into.
Absolutely. I see 2 more quickly. I'll end. I'm thankful for my job and coworkers, and I'm grateful for a job that I can pay my bills, especially when many are not so lucky.
Yes, I'm grateful for that every day also.
Absolutely.
Some other ideas that I'm going to share with you are from Martin Seligman. And he has a book that's one of my favorites also. It's called Authentic Happiness. And it's a book about positive psychology and how people can realize their potential and achieve lasting fulfillment. So some really important ideas there. And let me share a few ideas and some exercises I've developed based on the work of Martin Seligman. Here's an interesting one. It's practice acts of kindness. So why does it work? It helps us to view others more positively. It helps us to connect with others. It helps us to appreciate our own good fortune. It leads to positive social consequences, helps us feel good about ourselves, and it starts a chain of kindness. And so here's how I use it in the classroom. Whoops, I advanced a couple here. Seligman states, and this is a quote from his book, that this exercise is the single most reliable momentary increase in well-being of any exercise he has tested. So with that in mind, we can think, yes, this is important and it's effective. So what I have done and what other faculty have worked with me have done is introduce the concept of kindness and doing an act of kindness and give examples. And then one idea is to begin the class with, has anyone practiced an act of kindness? Or has anyone been kind to you? And again, I'll start off with some of my recent things that I've done, acts of kindness. I live in Southern California, and driving on the freeway can be somewhat challenging. So I practice kindness when I am driving. If someone wants to get into my lane, I give them space. If someone wants to get on the freeway, I give them space. Um, so that's one of them. Another example, I have elderly neighbors. They're in their 90s now. Sometimes they forget to take their trash cans out. So if I see the trash can out there and it's trash day, I take the trash can out. I never say anything, but I'm sure they're thankful. This week I had some stitches taken out of my face from some skin cancer, and the nurse was having a really difficult time getting those stitches out, but he finally got them out. And I said to him, "Thank you so much. I value your kindness and your good work." And he just beamed ear to ear. It made me feel happy, made him feel happy. So those are a few kindness things that I've done in the last few days. And so I wonder if anybody has an example of kindness that they've done. And this one you may use in your classroom, and people can't think of an act of kindness, but if you say, okay, next week I'm going to ask you this question at the beginning of class. And it's a good way to start the class with sharing acts of kindness. So I'm wondering, Tamara, if we have any acts of kindness that people have written in the comment box.
We don't yet, no. So
Okay. I probably didn't set this up correctly. I should have warned you that I was going to ask for some acts of kindness. So we'll move on. I think you probably understand the idea of this. And again, it is one that maybe you need to say next week. I'll ask you again.
just to give you one idea, someone said they held the door for someone at the coffee shop.
Yes,
So it
those
was a
are
nice one.
that make life pleasant. And I always appreciate that when someone helps me. Here's another one from Seligman, and that is savor life's joys. And so I'm going to ask you to share some of your life joys here in a moment. It's another quick exercise. So life joys. The ability to savor positive experiences in life is one of the most important ingredients of happiness. So again, this is from Seligman. So relish ordinary experiences, savor and reminisce with family and friends, transport yourself, replay happy days, celebrate good news, be open to beauty and excellence, be mindful. So I'm going to share a few of my life joys that I've noticed this week, and would ask if some of you could write in the chat window some of your life joys. Again, these are quick exercises. You can do them in 5 to 10 minutes. So you can just pop them in your class and help students with their well-being and their outlook on life. So some of my life joys, I planted some begonias in my front yard, and I went out today and they're just blooming like crazy. So that made me really happy. Family and friends, one of my granddaughters came over and I took her to the yogurt shop, and they had a Jenga game there. And she says, will you play Jenga with me? I said, sure. And we played a long time before those blocks collapsed. And she says, Nana, you are the Jenga genius. And I thought, wow, that's really cool. It made me happy. Put a smile on my face. Let's see. Open to beauty and excellence. Today's just a beautiful day in San Diego. It's a little bit rainy and cool, which we appreciate here. So I wonder if some of you could share some of life's joys.
We do.
Chat box.
So we have special time with friends, seeing my grandchildren. My two cats who don't normally get along are sleeping together now. I will say, as a mother of twins, yeah, especially when they were younger, those are blissful moments. Playing with my dog, finding beautiful rocks on a beach, walking through a forest, getting lost in a story. Last night, my son and I were looking at photos on my phone from when he was a baby and younger kid. He loved looking back at himself playing and laughing with his dogs when they were younger too.
Yes. So doesn't that just lift up your day to have those kinds of thoughts? And we can help our students with that as well. Okay, let's switch and talk about resilience. This photograph is actually from my yard. I planted these pansies in the flower bed, and some of them escaped, and I was surprised to see them growing in a crack. And I wondered how such beautiful flowers could grow in a crack. They're definitely resilient. Resilience is the capacity to face new challenges, navigate adversity, and overcome obstacles. So if we can help our students increase resilience, that would help them with their well-being. So again, Martin Seligman, he talks about character strengths. And he says, we can use our character strengths to attain the good life. So what does he mean by the good life? The good life is personal fulfillment, meaning and purpose, well-being, happiness, competence and mastery, goal achievement, and satisfying work. Wouldn't we all like to have that? And wouldn't we want to wish that for our students as well? So I've developed an exercise around Martin Seligman's character strengths. There is a free VIA character strength survey based on Seligman's character strengths at www.viacharacter.org. And again, I will have this listed on my webpage, which I will share with you on the last slide. But this is free. It's something that you and your students could take so that you could take a look at what are your character strengths. So here's a list of the 20 character strengths that Seligman identified. And I put this up in the beginning of this exercise, and I'll put it up again, because I'm going to ask in a few minutes, what character strengths do you use to increase resilience? And I'm going to show you how I have used some of my character strengths. But just take a moment to look down the list and think about what are some strengths that you have that are on this list. And again, I will put it up again, but in the meantime, I'll show you my results. So here are my results from the VIA Character Strength Survey. And I'd like to talk with you how I would use them in the classroom and online if you're teaching online. So of those 20 character strengths, here are mine. My top 5 are humor, gratitude, forgiveness. I try to forgive those people who cut me off on the freeway. Perspective and perseverance. And so when I'm facing a difficult situation, I try to think about what are my character strengths. And actually, I don't have to think about them much because in my life, I have used these things in difficult situations. I have a couple of examples with humor. And while I'm talking, think about the character strengths that you have and see if you can give me a couple of examples. So while I'm talking about humor, I put this list up again. Let's see. One example of humor is my daughter brought my grandchildren over that are 7 and 9. And my daughter said that Astro was having a difficult time to brush his teeth. Interesting names we have for kids today. My grandson's name is Astro. Says, for some reason, he just refuses to brush his teeth. So get him to brush his teeth. So I said, sure, no problem. So when it's time for bed, I think, how am I going to do this? So I talk to Astro and I say, Astro, I want you to listen to me very carefully. It's really important. Are you listening to me, Astro? And he says, yes, Nana, I'm listening to you. And he's looking very sad. And I said, whatever you do, I do not want you to brush your teeth. And he looked at me and he was shocked and a grin crept across his face and he ran upstairs and he brushed his teeth. Well, that was all well and good. The next day, my daughter calls me and she says, did you tell Astro not to brush his teeth? And I said, oops, yes, I did. I said, it's a funny game that we play. Just tell Astro not to brush his teeth and he'll brush them. So now whenever he comes over, he runs upstairs and brushes his teeth, no problem. Another example, I think I learned this humor from my family. We were always laughing and joking and playing tricks on my mother. There were 8 of us in our family. At my mother's funeral, my 5 brothers were sitting in the back of the church, and they were laughing and talking while I was giving the eulogy. And so I said one of our family strengths was sense of humor. Even in the saddest of times, we could find something to laugh about. And just saying that, my brother stopped laughing and started listening to me. And afterwards, I said, "What were you talking about in the back of the church?" And they said, "We were talking about the pranks that we used to play on Mom." And I said, "If she were here, she would be smiling at all of us." So it was a family trait that we learned. So that's a long description of how I practice resilience with some of my character strengths. I wonder if anyone could share in the chat room what character strengths you have or how you've used these to increase resilience. Mare, are there anything in the chat room? I don't know if we can enable people to talk also, if that's possible.
We can, if people would like that, you can just raise your hand and I can allow you to share. So we have a couple. Someone actually uses this in their class as well. And they say that her number one result continues to be love of learning, appropriately
Yes.
so. And someone else has appreciation of beauty and excellence. So art, dance, music, trees, animals, and so important for my wellness.
Right. So in my resources, I have a handout, and it has all these character strengths listed. And then I have students take the VIA character strength survey. I have them put a circle around their top 5 and then write down how they use these in difficult situations. And then I have them share in groups. And then I ask for examples to share in the classroom. So again, this is one of the resources at my website, College Success One. Resilience is a theme throughout all of my materials. So we talk about optimism, adaptability, emotional awareness, hope, realistic goals, problem solving, strong social connections, persistence, self-compassion, empathy, internal locus of control, gratitude, awareness of personal strengths. Toward the end of the classroom, I summarize these topics in an exercise that I'll share with you. I have a handout where I list the items on my previous slide, and then I have some typical college scenarios. Here's an example. My math course is difficult. I need this course for my major. And so I ask students to take several of these resiliency topics and apply them to this scenario. So for example, I could use optimism. I've been successful in difficult courses before. I can do it. I think this is a good one to do also with the handout, have students attempt it on their own and then meet with the group to see if they can improve it and then report to the larger group some examples. Here's another resiliency technique, problem solving. Maybe I need to spend more time on this course. Ask for help. I will go to math tutoring sessions or find helpful videos online. We could use persistence. I won't give up. So this handout is available in my resources for today. One of the things that I did when I was looking at the new editions is I realized that the topic of diversity was problematic and had reports from faculty across the country about how they were having difficulties with this topic. And so I think it's an important one. And when we're looking at identity and self-esteem, then who we are, our culture is important. So one of the exercises that I developed that's new is reflect on strengths from family, culture, and community. And again, as I'm talking about this, think about what are some strengths you learned from your family, your culture, or community. And we can use a technique called think, pair, share. Think about it, and then pair with another person and share. So it's a group activity. So I'm going to ask just for a few examples of strengths from your family, culture, and community. While you're thinking about it, I'll mention a few here. Family, my mother was the strongest, most independent, most resourceful person I've ever met. And sometimes I see her in myself in the way I do things. So I'm thankful to her as a role model. Culture, I had a DNA analysis, and I'm actually Swedish and Irish, but my mother moved to New Mexico and married a New Mexican, and he spoke Spanish, and we lived in Espanola, New Mexico. It's near Santa Fe. When I was very young, I asked my father to teach me to speak Spanish because everybody in my community spoke Spanish, so I'm now fluent in Spanish. We also had several Native American reservations near us, and so I learned to appreciate that culture. My community, I am thankful that my high school had a marching band, and I was part of that marching band, and so made lots of friends in the marching band. I rode in the rodeo, the Espanola Valley Rodeo. I was in 4-H. That was a rural community. So these are all things that helped me as I was growing up. So these are strengths from my family, culture, and community. I wonder if people could share any strengths from their family, culture, or community. And again, this exercise, the purpose of it is to help students improve their self-esteem and be proud of who they are.
We do have one here from family and local community, a strong work ethic.
Yes. That's something I learned from my family too. We always worked really hard.
Very important.
Yes. Okay, switching topics now. My new chapter in my new edition is called Empower Yourself, Mental and Physical Well-Being. And part of that is managing stress and relaxing. So I have a few relaxation exercises and videos. If we run short of time, I'll skip over them, but we still have about 15 minutes left. So let's see how we can go here. So one exercise I did frequently with my students is called stress reducing thoughts. I would pass out some 3x5 cards. I like blue because it's a relaxing color. And I would give some examples of some stress reducing thoughts. And these thoughts are helpful to deal with the minor irritants in life, probably not good to deal with trauma. But there are lots of things that stress us in daily life, and these stresses tend to build up and influence our well-being. So here's some of mine. You've got this. It's not the end of the world. Keep cool. It's no big deal. And by the way, as I'm reading this, think about what do you say to yourself to try to get rid of these minor stresses? Relax. Life's too short to let this bother me. It's their problem. My best friend always says, life's like that, and just be happy. So I give students some example, and I tell them, you probably don't like my stress reducing thoughts, but think about your own and write them down. And then I have them share them with people in the class. While they're doing this, I play music, Bob Marley's Three Little Birds. I'll see if I can get it to play here. Oops, we're going to get an ad for 4 seconds. This is on YouTube.
We don't seem to have sound this time around.
It says we don't have sound, so I'll
Yeah.
do this. So those of you who are familiar with Bob Marley, don't worry about a thing. Everything is going to be all right. Play that on YouTube. And so students are happy and while they think about their stress reducing thoughts. So I wonder if any of you have stress reducing thoughts that you could share in the chat room.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. I ask myself, can I change this situation? If so, how? If not, what can I learn? That's a good one. And
I like that.
yeah, from a colleague, it will be okay, even if we don't know what okay looks like from here.
That's a good one too.
Yeah. This too shall pass. Another
Yeah.
one.
Okay. So these are just small, quick things that you can do. Another one of my favorite ones is mindfulness. I went to an FYE conference and attended a session where mindfulness was the central theme of their FYE course. And one of the exercises they did was a field trip for 10 minutes walking around campus where they asked students to be mindful. And what does mindful mean? It means focusing on what you can see, hear, feel, taste, and touch. Why is it relaxing? It's relaxing because it helps to calm our thoughts. Much of the stress that we experience is because of the thoughts that we have. So if we can just calm our minds temporarily, that helps to improve well-being. In the morning, I go for a mindfulness walk. I walk up the hill to a park that has some trees. And so this morning I noticed the sky. It was beautiful with clouds and the trees silhouetted against the sky. There's some cactus out there and different shadows on the cactus. There were some little birds. It was raining slightly, so the smell of the rain, a breeze on my face, all these things relaxed me. On your mindfulness field trip for 10 minutes, you can instruct students to focus on their senses, what they can see, hear, feel, taste, and touch. I'm not sure about the taste part of that, but anyway, go back into the classroom and then report on what students could see, feel, hear, taste, and touch. There are some quick relaxation videos for 5 minutes that help students to relax. So you could take a 5-minute break in your class and do this. Here's an example of one of them. I'm not going to play the whole thing, but for 5 minutes, could you sit and think about autumn leaves, maybe a waterfall, an ocean, a mountain scene? So there are 5 of these 5-minute mindfulness videos that I found on YouTube, and they are listed in the resources for today. So just a quick way to relax. Another quick exercise is breathing exercise, and one of the most popular ones is box breathing. So why does breathing matter? When we are stressed, we breathe quicker and more shallow. When we are relaxed, our breathing slows down. If we think about breathing, then we're not thinking about what stresses us out. And so for a number of reasons, this is helpful. So one of the most popular ones, and maybe you can try it along with me, is that you breathe in for a count of 4. So let's all try that. Breathe in for a count of 4. And then hold for 4 seconds. 2, 3, 4. And then exhale, 2, 3, 4. So that's box breathing. I also took a biofeedback class through Kaiser, and I just do a simple breathing exercise every day where I inhale for 4, a deep breath, and then exhale for 5, that really empties your lungs out. And I practice that for 10 minutes a day, and that helps me to maintain a relaxed attitude during the day. There is a video on box breathing that you could show to your students that leads them through this. Once you've seen this video one time, then you can do this with your students quite easily. And again, this is just a 5-minute exercise. So I have this listed in the resources for today.
There are times when we all.
The last one I'm going to do is progressive muscle relaxation. And I have done this in my classroom before exams. And it's a different kind of exercise, and students are surprised. I always like to keep them surprised with the different things that we do in my classroom. So maybe we can try this. You can try it there in your chair that you're sitting in. So the first step is just tensing and then relaxing your muscles and feeling the relaxation. So try this with me. Lift your shoulders up to your ears. Hold it, hold it, hold it, and relax. And you have a feeling of relaxation. Take your shoulders and push them back. Hold it, and relax. tighten your fist, tighten your arms, hold it, and relax. There are about 10 steps to this exercise. I have them listed in a handout for faculty, and I have that in the resources for today. There's also a video that's 10 minutes. It's led by a physical therapist going through these muscle relaxation exercises. Again, if you do it one time or watch the video one time, you'll be able to do this with your class. And you can do it in 5 to 10 minutes. It's one of my favorites. To summarize my class, I have students reflect on their life purpose. In my course, we look at personal strengths, multiple intelligences, values. So I have them summarize their personal strengths, summarize their multiple intelligences, summarize their values, and then try to write a life purpose statement. Here's an example. I will use my strengths in math and science to become an environmental engineer to make the world a better place for the inhabitants of the earth. Of course, these purpose statements will evolve as people get older and as students progress through their college education, but reflecting on life purpose helps to accomplish goals. Accomplishing goals leads to a sense of satisfaction, which contributes to well-being. So this is the very last exercise in my course, and it summarizes material that I've presented during the semester. I do have that handout posted on my resources as well. So this is my website, College Success One. That's the URL. And it has a menu on the left side. Click on Training Notes. Training Notes is where I list all of the resources when I'm presenting at webinars or doing training at different college campuses. And you can go down there and see lots of things that I've presented on before, and you're welcome to use any of those materials. So that's the most important URL that you can remember for today, collegesuccess1.com. Click on Training Notes. I like interacting with faculty. I'm now retired, and so I enjoy hearing from faculty. I try to be different from other authors in that I interact with faculty, and I don't mind answering questions. So any academic questions, any clarification on anything I've talked about today, you can reach me at marsha@marshafralick.com. And then if you'd like a demo of the interactive online version of my textbook, which is the one that I've used and like, then you can contact Carla Lundman. Here's her email address here, or you could ask me about it also. So you can get free access to the textbook and take a look to see if it would be useful to you. So I appreciate your attendance today. I know Tamara has some ending comments here.
Yeah, if anybody has any questions, feel free to type them into the chat window. Thank you so much, everybody, for your participation today. That's fantastic. We certainly appreciate it. And I also want to thank Dr. Fralick today for sharing her knowledge and her time as well today. And just a reminder that Carla will be sending you today's recording tomorrow with links to the resources that Dr. Fralick has talked about. And we also have a quick, very quick 5-question survey. Take 2 minutes of your time, if you don't mind, after the session ends. And we always love to hear how we did. And so thank you very much. And
before we end, I didn't leave enough time for questions, so I'm wondering if there are questions. I see a heart floating across the screen. I do appreciate that. Thank you very much. But let's pause a moment. We still have a few minutes. Does anyone have questions? Thank you for the hearts that are coming across our screen.
I think we're all, tend to do a thumbs up and emoji, a quick way to show what we're thinking. So yes, and great thanks to Dr. Fralick. I see in the chat appreciation and thank you so much. It really is fantastic to see these resources shared. Thank you for the information and confirmation of some things I currently do. That's always nice to have.
Yeah, so these are great things for helping our students achieve happiness and improve their well-being. So best wishes to everyone. Hope you find these exercises useful. And if there are no other comments, we'll go ahead and close down the webinar for today. And I'll pause a little bit. Any other comments?
Always supposed to wait for the uncomfortable silence, right?
That's right.
No, thank you very much, everybody. It was fantastic to have the participation we did today on such a super important topic today, I think, for everybody. So hopefully you left your day a little cheerier.
Okay, thanks everyone for attending, and wishing you all the best.
Thanks so much.